Good afternoon. My name is Kim Siler. I am responsible for digital capabilities and infrastructure for Western Europe. I am based in London. I have been based in London for 18 months now. Prior to London, I was based in headquarters in Atlanta, and for 3 years, I was responsible for activating the global mobile strategy for Coca-Cola. And then prior to that, I was 10 years at AT&T Mobility. And the reason I say all of this is because I have 15 years experience in mobile. And prior to SMOX, we have been doing a huge disservice to our marketers. We've been expecting them to make decisions without facts and without true data, and without them truly understanding what they're making decisions on. So this has been extremely valuable for Coca-Cola, and I'm going to share 2 case studies with you. One is Coca-Cola out of China, and the other one is Peak Gold Peak Tea. The reason I'm hesitating is because we actually approached it a bit differently than the other marketers, so Walmart and Visa or MasterCard, because we are actually doing it 5 different ways. So we did one in China, one version in the US with Gold Peak Tea. We're actually in the middle of one within the UK now. We're doing another one in Brazil, and tentatively doing one in Turkey as well. So we're doing as many as we can so we can get as much data for our marketers as possible. For the Chinese New Year campaign, obviously Chinese New Year is everything to everyone, so it's outside of our normal target. It's not just targeting teens, it's targeting from 1 to 99 years old. The campaign only lasts for 4 weeks. The objectives are pretty high in that we want to do everything we can through the purchase funnel. We can all argue all day long if this is the correct purchase funnel, if this is the funnel that's needed on mobile, if there's even a funnel on mobile, but I think we can all agree that more people are aware of our product than buy our product. That in itself is a funnel. We did it across TV, out-of-home, digital video display, and mobile video display. I'll speak a little bit to this because I think this is important. Everybody quickly thinks that video is the same across desktop and mobile, and we clearly see that's not the case.
以前过年呢，玩意儿可多了。
是吗，爷爷？嘿，
这才是过年嘛！
还原年味就要可口可乐。
So obviously very Chinese, but I think that's good because our marketers need to see the variations across when we have a portfolio as broad as ours for all of the brands. You'll also see across all of the touch points that even though the theme is the same with respect to the Chinese New Year, it doesn't all look exactly the same, and that's also a bit that we were testing as well. So the results. With a baseline of 100, you'll see that TV overperformed, over-indexed at 118. Out-of-home massively underperformed at 21. Digital video, 61. And then mobile, double at 199. I mean, you can't argue with the numbers. That's pretty clear that mobile obviously was effective. Of the budget, overall budget, it's kind of sad, obviously, from somebody being in mobile for 15 years, that the mobile budget was only 4%, but it accounted for 8% of the sales. Right? So those are pretty big numbers. Mobile, it's also good to point out here that mobile is not just a single thing, and that's where we're struggling a bit with our marketers. I mean, we'll talk about it a bit later, Chris, because when you tell our marketers that they need to do mobile, it's what do, right? I can't have them go talking to 25 vendors to activate their campaign. They need to be really clear on what they're getting and what they're doing with their money. So we would recommend that they go at 8%, right? So what we're saying is we're not saying take away money or change the budget. We're just saying optimize the overall mix. We're not saying get rid of out-of-home. We're definitely not saying don't get rid of TVC, because we would be kicked out of the building at Coca-Cola if we said that. But we are saying to optimize the media mix. We could not get our heads around something as big as 15%. That's a big leap to go from 4% to 15%, but we were able to get them to get their heads around 8% on mobile. With the 8%, we could get sales to 7%. And then if we did the 15%, we could get to double-digit sales, 16%. That's really, really, really hard to argue with. Mobile tactics, so mobile video, 5% for purchase intent. Mobile display, 4%, so mobile video, larger. Mobile social, I can't see the number, I think it's 8%. Yep, 8%. I think the point here is not that one is better than the other. Again, it's mobile as many different things, and we need to begin getting really clear about what our objectives are on each of those different platforms or those different areas. So in summary, definitely 2 times more efficient. If we increased money out of the less effective out of home, so we saw out of home was way less effective. Let's pull some of the money from there, put it to mobile. And then mobile video and display should be between 8 to 15%. So we can't argue, we believe it should be 8 to 15%. It's gonna be a lot of work to get our marketers' heads around 15%, so we'll work at 8 and start from there. Gold Peak Tea, a very different activation, so it's a much lesser known brand, especially globally. So it took a different approach. We're looking a bit more about awareness. You'll see that they all kind of look the same. So one that has to do with budget, and the second one is that was primarily the objective, is to build that brand awareness. As far as the impact, so based on the blue and orange people that Chris talked to earlier, top of mind awareness, 0.1 to 0.6 had we optimized for mobile. I think it's hard, I don't want you to compare these numbers. It's not apples to apples with Coca-Cola. Obviously, brand Coca-Cola doesn't have a problem with brand awareness. Gold Peak Tea does, so we need to make sure that that's a big number for Peak Tea. And then homebrewed taste, so that's the brand image that we wanted to ensure was the takeaway, 2.6% increase, right? So obviously, if you're closer to the consumer and you're able to be more relevant to what they're doing, then you're gonna meet your brand objectives. Oops. So the impact for Gold Peak Tea was 4%, and again, this is a very small brand. It has a very small budget in comparison to Coca-Cola. Showing them these numbers, they were floored that they could increase sales 4% had they just optimized their media mix. Investing the optimum share of spend, optimizing media to build brand awareness. Mobile worked harder against all metrics, including brand image with 2.6 times the uplift.